So, let's have our morning cup of joe. Do you know what this is? Oh, it looks like a billy club, but that is not what it is. It is a spurtle. What does a spurtle do? Well, Oliver Twist would know all about that because he said, "Sir, can I have some more?" More what? Gruel. Gruel is oatmeal. And this is the traditional way to stir it. You cook it slowly on the stove. When I was talking about that on the radio, someone sent me this Spurtle because I didn't have one, and then others took up the slack and sent me other Spurtles. So now I have a connection of Spurtles. Good thing because I like oatmeal, and I do eat it pretty regularly. It contains beta glucan. Beta glucan is a kind of soluble fiber which lowers cholesterol. And anytime that you're eating whole grains, you're doing a good thing. This picture kind of indelibly etched in many of our minds because it depicts this terrible collapse of Christian Eriksen, the Danish soccer player, on the field during a Euro 2021 game. We now know that he's doing okay, he's in hospital and he's recovering, but he did have a cardiac arrest. Of course, the nonsense started as soon as this event occurred. The suggestion was that this was a reaction to the COVID vaccine. This is absolutely untrue. Eriksen did not have the COVID vaccine, nor had he ever experienced any COVID symptoms at all. This was just pure nonsense, but this is the kind of nonsense that we see from the anti-vaxxers. As soon as they can latch onto something, they do. Then they, of course, try to blow it totally out of proportion. Now, it is true that there is a very, very small risk of myocarditis, which is an inflammation of the heart associated with some vaccines. But this is a very rare situation and it's temporary, and certainly Eriksen did not suffer from that. This is total nonsense. But there's so much nonsense about the COVID vaccine. You probably have come across this. It was on many Facebook posts, and bloggers got a hold of it, suggesting that an executive at Moderna said that the vaccine changes DNA. He never said that, never at all. He did have a TED talk in which he described messenger RNA and how it can change the way the body works and it can provoke the body to form novel substances, but he was very careful to describe exactly what messenger RNA does. And he never at all mentioned anything about it altering DNA. Total nonsense. These are lies. These are big, big lies, but they are dangerous lies because it prevents people from getting the vaccine. There are a lot of people who unfortunately buy into this kind of nonsense. Well, let me just leave you with one other point this morning. And this is a study that came out about red seaweed. It's a very interesting study because they looked at the fact that in Japan, there's an unusually low rate of colorectal cancer. That's true. It is also true that the Japanese consume a lot of seaweed. But of course, an association cannot prove cause and effect. But neither does it mean that there may not be a connection. So it deserves looking into because they do consume a lot of seaweed products. Well, what the researchers did here was they studied the chemistry of the seaweed and that found that it contains certain carbohydrates which act as food for bacteria in the gut. In other words, they are prebiotics. And those bacteria in the gut may play a role in reducing the risk of colorectal cancer. However, more research, of course, has to be done on this, and it isn't particularly appropriate for North America because no matter what, we're not going to take up the habit of dining on a daily basis on seaweed. Whereas in Japan, of course, that is part of their dietary regimen. So it is an interesting study. It merits further looking into, because it is possible then that the particular sugars like agarose that are in this seaweed can be put into capsules and maybe can be used as dietary supplements. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. So there's certainly nothing wrong with eating some seaweed, but I don't think it's a practical situation for our diet here in North America. So that's what has come across my desk this morning, and I hope you have a great day. And remember that there are a lot of people out there who are trying to fool you. Our cup of joe. Good stuff.